Today is the day I'm going to get all the cards, including the 1200 Rias Pikachu, and complete my Obsidian Flames collection. And there was even police involved. So I went to a card event to get some of the ones I was missing. And when I got there, the first person I talked to was this guy wearing a Gengar shirt. I looked through his file to see if he had any letters from Sparks, but unfortunately he didn't. Then this kid came over and handed me his binder. And right at first glance, I saw he had a card I wanted, the Latias EX, valued at over 500 Rias. He wasn't willing to trade it, but even if he was, I don't know if I would have had cards valuable enough to trade with him. But then I saw he had the Cerulege card I collect and thought about taking it, but in the end I passed on Cerulege again to get Drasna, a card from Obsidian Flames I still didn't have. If I'm not mistaken, he gave me that card. We didn't do any trades, I think. I can't remember now. Thanks for the Drasna, man. It's really going to help my collection. After that, I met a subscriber who also had his Pokemon card binder, but he didn't have any cards I was looking for, so I went to the vendor area and that's where I found him, Antonio. He showed me an Obsidian Flames ETB, but at that moment my wallet was, full of cobwebs. However, looking through his sales binder, I found a card I didn't have, the Full Art Ciclizar. When I went to the Pokemon card event in Fortaleza, I missed out on several cards I needed because I hadn't brought my binder and hadn't written down which cards I was missing. But this time I was prepared. I wasn't going to let any card I needed slip by unnoticed. And unfortunately that was the only card I needed that he had. While I was looking at some of the products he had on the table, he picked up and showed me a booster pack I had never seen before in my life, a Sovereign Dragons booster. What year could this booster be from? I paid for the Ciclizar card and got a Prismatic Evolutions booster. Let's see what I get! Once again, no luck with this set, but at least we got a card from Raging Sparks that I didn't have yet to help us complete the collection. After that, I met a group of people in cosplay who had just bought a bunch of common cards from various different sets, but the guy dressed as Akatsuki had a really cool card, the Professor Oak card next to the 3 Pokeballs. It reminded me of when I played Pokemon Fire Red for the first time, and there I was 13 years old. Already having to make the choice that separates the men from the boys, the choice of your starter. By the way, comment down below which one you would choose. Besides the Professor Oak card, he had some other EX cards, but none from Raging Sparks. Then I went to another area of the event and found a guy selling some common cards, but what I needed was the Latias EX card or the special rare cards. Do you only have common cards? Just a little comment. But this kid standing next to him said he had some rare cards, so he grabbed his bag, took out his binder, and when I looked at his cards, it was Kecleon, Fluffy, and Vibraval cards we already have. I'll have to save the trade with him for next time. After walking around for a while, I found these other tables that had some interesting things and a lot of people gathered around. That's a sign there are a lot of cards there. When I squeezed in and looked at the binders, I found some things really interesting, like this giant Butterfree VMAX. I admit I like this Pokemon. Since the focus was Impetuous Sparks, I tried not to get distracted, and on the next page I found a letter. The Little Sandcastle, better known as Palosan DX. I set it aside here in the corner, and 2 pages later I found another card I needed, the Palm Tree Executor, but in the end I didn't buy them because 30 Rias for both cards just wasn't worth it. It's easier for me to buy from Liga Pokemon, because at Liga Pokemon they have the lowest prices on single cards in the market. And it's through their website that I know how much a card is worth. Palosan EX would cost 5 Rias and 80 cents and Executor would be 8 Rias and 90 cents. By the way, at Liga Pokemon, for every 100 Rias you spend, you get a coupon that lets you participate in the raffle they hold every month. This month's raffle is for 40 booster boxes from the Journey Friends collection, and if you use the code TETSIV, you double your chances, so instead of getting 1 coupon, you get 2. The website link is in the description. So I went to talk to some people at the tables to see if they had any of those cards, and they didn't have them either, until I met this guy who had one of the 6 gold cards from the Obsidian Flame set, the Gravitational Mountain. He wouldn't trade that card, but at least he had one of the cards I needed, which was Slakoth, and I traded my Full Art Latias for it. Speaking of gold cards, I found a bunch in this binder, but none of the ones we needed. However, there were several cards that I found beautiful, like this Beedrill in the Flower Garden, many others around it, and as I flipped through the pages of his binder, I saw another Cerulege at the event. Every time I see a Cerulege and I can't get it, a little piece of my heart breaks, but there was nothing for us in that binder, and I was about to leave when out of nowhere I got the Executor and Palosan cards I needed, and the person who gave them to me was none other than Antonio. Once again, this guy helping me out with my collection, man. This guy is awesome! The next day, early in the morning, I was at the card shop here in my city, Itaquaquecetuba, at Kid Card Games. Because Poké Day was happening, a Pokemon battle event, and especially for trading Pokemon cards. I announced on Instagram that I'd be at the shop, met several subscribers, and made many trades. But the most important was with this channel subscriber look at what she's holding, the Latias EX we needed. She was looking through my cards to see which one she wanted, and we made a trade Milotic EX for Latias Xan thanks to her. Now we only need the special rare cards from Fagulas to complete the set. After I got back from the event, I realized I would need to try to get some of the more expensive cards from the collection, which would be the special art Milotic EX card at 398 Riez, the Golden Pikachu EX at 480 Riez, the Latias EX at 500 Riez, and the most expensive card of all, the special rare illustration Pikachu, valued at over 1,000 Riez. I was thinking, how am I going to get them? Buying these cards would be my last option because it would be way too expensive, and as I was considering various possibilities of what I could do, I remembered how Ash would go on his adventures, traveling from city to city and region to region. So I decided to do the same thing, my own Pokemon adventure. That's when I got up from my chair, put my binder in my bag, caught a train, and a few hours later got on the bus that would take me to another city. I really hope this plan works, because if it doesn't, I'm screwed. I got on the bus and went to my seat, which was the first one, so I had a big window view. But since we were traveling at night, I wouldn't see anything. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't, and become a member to join the giveaways. We're in this together! And while the bus hadn't left yet and everyone was still getting settled into their seats, I brought along a pack of obsidian flames for us to open together during the trip. I thought it would be a fun way to pass the time and maybe even discover some new cards, so let's see if I pull any new ones here.
Quarto booster, sem carta rara, porém no quinto booster, abrindo ele, no final pegamos
Flamingo EX. The first 6 boosters came with Flamingo EX, one of the worst cards in the set. And well, our journey has begun. Let's see if this Pokemon adventure will bring us the rare cards we need.
I have absolutely no idea whatsoever what time it is right now. I just know that I woke up, it was already light out, and then everyone went downstairs. I also have absolutely no idea what this place is called, but we stopped here for some reason. I've got the boosters to open. It's not the first time I've traveled here to Londrina, and this place, every single time I come to Londrina, they always stop at this exact same spot. There's just a little button here. And here we are, finally at last. Well, since I have about 30 minutes that I can stay out here, I'll find a spot to open some boosters because, well, we got a Flamingo, right? And now there are a few more boosters here for us to try to get another rare card. This place is isolated, man. There are just some buses here, some cars, and I think there are people who travel by car at night too. I wouldn't take a trip at night, are you crazy? It's nighttime, but let's go. I grab a little bench here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boosters for us to open. Well, let's see if I can actually manage to pull a truly rare card here, right in the middle of nowhere. Right, in the middle of a trip, because here we have this habit of opening boosters in unusual places. I'm not going to open one in the bathroom because that's kind of complicated, right? But here we are in the middle of the road, out of nowhere, with just, I don't know, a full shopping center, some kind of market, and that's it, and some bus. Other than that, there's nothing else around here. Let's see if I get something here. I've got 30 minutes to open it, then the bus. Oh, I pulled the card that I already have. A Skarmory. Skarmory, actually I do have it, right? I think I have it, but I'll have to check my binder later to see if I really didn't have it. But I'm pretty sure I have it too. One of the cards I'm missing, if I'm not mistaken, is Latias. Latias would be really cool here. Latias and Milotic. Those are some really expensive cards that I think will be very hard for us to get. A Latias, a Pikachu. Man, if I could get them, wow. It would be amazing, because if I can get Pikachu or Latias or Milotic, I'll have to pay to complete the set. And I pulled a Slaking here, man. And Slaking is a card we already have. And it is. So in these boosters here, we got a Slaking and a Skarmory. Slaking is it's bad. Now, the Skarmory was cool. Let's see if I have this Skarmory or not, but before that, let me throw the trash away. So I got back on the bus, grabbed my bag with my binder inside, and looking through it, I realized I already had Skarmory. In other words, we got a duplicate card. This booster box still hasn't given us any cards we didn't already have. I'll put it here in the binder. That's kind of a bad thing. But there are still a lot of boosters left, about 18 here. I think we can probably get about 3 more rare cards. We've already gotten 3. Flamingo, Slaking, and Skarmory. And the average for a booster box is 6 rare cards. So there are 3 more rare cards we can get. And let's hope at least one of them is a card we don't have yet, especially the expensive ones, so we don't have to buy them later. After that, I took about 6 boosters from my booster box and gave them to this guy to open. I met him on the bus out of nowhere. He said he likes Pokemon and hasn't opened a pack in years. When did you last open one?
Since I was a kid.
While he was opening the Pokemon cards, this happened. The police raided the bus. Meanwhile, there we were, having fun opening some Pokemon packs. This was his expression when he saw a rare card after 15 years. There you go, a rare card.
Look. Oh, Tatsugiri, did you already have this one?
I have this one. EX cards are easier to get,
Excellent.
but it's kind of rare, more or less, in that range. Right after that, the police who had entered the bus were taking a guy out of it.
Man, but how am I supposed to get home now?
No.
How am I going to get home, sir? For God's sake.
Get off here. I can easily imagine you must be quite curious to know what happened. And of course, I'm certainly not going to leave you with only half the story. Do you know what happened there? What was it?
I was awake. He started messing with the stuff of the lady up front. And then she saw it and he said, "No ma'am, I smell food. I just wanted to eat something." And then she said, "No, what I have here is for my daughter. No, but just give me a little, I don't want to steal." He started saying some really weird things to her. Then when he left, I said, "No, if this guy messes with you again, you run over there." And I kept an eye out and stayed awake the whole time.
So you see, I brought the gossip, gave you the whole context of the story. After that, I deserve a like and for you to subscribe to the channel. After a few hours, I finally arrived. I left Itaquaquecetuba, the city where I live, and after 7 hours of travel, I reached my destination, Londrina. I got to this city at around 3 in the morning. There probably aren't any card shops open at this hour, plus I need to rest after such a long journey. In other words, I need a Pokemon center, so to speak, because, well, Ash and his friends, whenever they needed to rest, had a Pokemon center, so I need one too. So I went to my friend's house, but of course I wasn't going to rest before opening a few more packs of Obsidian Flames. So we started opening the rest of the booster packs. My friend tried opening his pack and whoa! We pulled the Milotic EX worth 32 Ries and 89 cents. Meanwhile, Montero was struggling to open his first little booster pack, but when he finally opened it, this happened. He pulled a rare card, but it was the rare Flamingo card, really bad card. Here we have 2 more cards. I thought it was 26, but 2 more came, so actually there were 7. We got a Flamingo, unfortunately, and a Milotic. Both cards I already have in my collection. So I'm going to put these cards in the binder so that in the future these duplicate cards can be used for some Pokemon card trade. I think they might be useful. Now I need to look through this pile of cards because there's a common card missing from this section. Let's take a look. Great, I found it. Tomila, the last common card I needed to complete my binder of common cards. I thought I had run out of boosters, but I still had 5 boosters of Fiery Sparks. So let's see if in these 5 boosters here we can get at least 1 card that we don't have yet to complete the binder, because if we don't, it's gonna be tough for me, man. I really need a card I don't have. The chances of getting something new in these 5 boosters are very low, but the chance isn't 0. If I can get at least one of the rarest cards in the set, that would help me a lot, because my last option would be to buy it, and I really don't want to have to do that. So if something's gonna come, let it be now. Nothing came. The next day, I took an Uber to the card shop here in Londrina because it was trade day, and there I could get new Pokemon for my binder, also known as my Sparkling Pokédex. Another reason I went to that shop was because there was a problem related to the new set, but I talked about that in another video. At the entrance, I met a subscriber who wanted a photo, and when he unlocked his phone, my channel was open. He must have thought, is this weird kid really TCV? He looks way worse in person. But then we took a picture together, and there were the Pokemon card collectors. There were even cards on the floor in the shop. There's a card down here. Look, I don't know if it's yours. Just like there were people playing TCG, there were also folks negotiating and trading cards. And without wasting any time, I started making my own trades. The first person I'm going to trade with is this subscriber. Do you have anything from Paldean Fates here?
Sparks?
And
I just traded away a full art Pikachu.
we already had the full art Pikachu, but he had something else I needed, the A-Spec fan. Or at least that's what I thought.
You have the same? It's the same.
Is that just the only one missing? Because it was only later I realized I already had it in my binder, and looking through his, he had a lot of really cool cards, but the one that caught my eye was the Articuno. So I took the Articuno and we traded it for my Promo Zorua, and after that he did this. Right after that, this kid came up right in front of me and said the following.
Still smells cards.
So he started going through his cards, and before I even knew it, he already had 3 of the 4 most expensive cards in the collection. The other card is the secret full art Latisse, which is currently worth 550 reais. And those 3 cards he had were 3 cards I needed. I didn't have them yet.
Would you like any of those?
I actually did all 3, to be honest. But did you open a lot to get this one? Did you open many boxes?
Man, Pikachu said, I traded for it. Traded my Logic in this one too. There's no way, right?
Oh, okay. I went to sign the binder and also some cards that a few subscribers asked me to, and now it's time to make a deal with the guy who had what I needed. As usual, I took his binder and he had mine so he could take a look. And man, his binder had some absolutely awesome cards, especially because he had a lot of old cards that, to be honest with you, if I'm being completely honest, I really love the design of, and also some cool shinies. But even so, my focus was just on one thing. So the main cards I need are the ones you have in your hand.
The ones in my hand?
Yeah, the ones in the top loader, right?
Dude, you know what's interesting? Look, because the main cards I need are at the top of your stack.
Perfect then, because what he has I want, and what I have he wants. Now I just need to know which cards he's after. So, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for evolutions.
Prism?
Prismatic ones, I'm totally obsessed. Look, the last ball.
Are you collecting the prismatic just like you did? That's gold, man! And he really was serious. All the common cards from the prismatic evolution set were completely finished. On top of that, he had the trainer cards from that set, as well as the secret art Pokemon cards. Also, 2 evolutions, Sylveon and Jolteon. It's gonna be hard to complete this. So which cards do you need?
Look, the cards I want for now are Super Sphinx, the EX.
30 reais, what are you asking me for? But if you get it, even better. But if you get it, even better.
I have other cards too. I don't know if it's just that I know you need them, but I also have some cool cards at the end of the counter.
Those 4, 5 stars. And those were the 5 prismatic evolution cards he needed.
Here in the video, look, Lunard, Tarsila, her special art. I also got the special rare art of Super Sphinx. I also got the SS Mask. And finally, I got Damaris.
Altogether, they came to 1,200. The cards I'm going to get from him,
These 2, look,
how much did they come to?
1,030.
1,030. I'm just gonna pick up a few cards to make up the value, but this will already really help complete our Segolia's collection. So, to make up the remaining value, I started picking out some old cards he had for trade, and in the end, these were the evolution cards he got, and the remaining cards I needed to reach the value were these, and especially these 2 here, which we were missing to help us progress in completing the collection. Pedro.
Man, actually, I know it's kind of cheesy for you, but could you sign my album?
Yeah, of course. How could I not sign out for this guy? Who's happy for me? With all the happiness in the world, I signed Pedron's binder. Thanks to him, we got 2 really expensive cards. Good thing that trade worked out. And I wasn't the only one who was happy because Pedran even put his new cards in the binder in style, and I even got a gift from a subscriber. Hey, thanks, really? Thank you. The Rare Dog Bread card. Thanks for the gift, we're in this. Right after that, someone handed me a binder. And if you look closely at this binder, you'll figure out which collection it is. And if you guessed 151, you got it right. This binder is 99% complete. Everywhere I go, someone always tells me about or shows me something from 151. And that just makes me want to complete this collection even more. I'm going to finish it. It's a collection I find most beautiful. It's one of the coolest. Stay tuned, me journey to complete this collection soon. Now our trade is gonna be with this kid.
I was just watching you yesterday.
Oh, you were watching yesterday and now you're here.
I told him there's this guy on the internet over there. He's like, where? I didn't see it.
Do you have anything from Fabulas here?
Cards that don't think so.
That's the set I'm actually trying to complete. He didn't have any Fagulas, but in his binder he had some cool Charizard cards and some Gengar ones. On the next page I saw a Psyduck, and I just couldn't resist. Psyduck here, will you trade it? Deal! So I took the Psyduck, currently worth 120 Ries, and the card he wanted was Pikachu, worth 480. Since my card was much more expensive, I looked through his binder again to see if there was anything else I wanted, but there wasn't. The only exception would be this one here again, but from interest. But then it ends up being really quite different from Pikachu. Since my Pikachu card was just too expensive, he had to pick some other cards instead. And the cards he chose were these ones, as you can see, as a trade for the Psyduck card. Then I shook hands with him and his dad. We're in this together for the trade, thanks. Now our next trade is with this subscriber who, by the way, is wearing the same cap as me, but unlike me who wears it straight, he's got his cap to the side, looking cooler. It reminded me of Ash when he would go into protagonist mode and turn his cap backwards. By the way, it was at that moment that he managed to take down Onix with a single electric attack just because the Pokemon was wet. And I won't even mention the aquatic Onix, huh? A Psyduck card. Then I greeted him and his dad. In for trade, thanks. Now our trade is gonna be with this subscriber who, by the way, is wearing the same cap as me, but unlike me who wears it straight, he's got his cap to the side looking even cooler. He reminded me of Ash when he switched to protagonist mode and turned his cap backwards. By the way, that's when he could take down an Onix with an electric move just because the Pokemon was wet. And I won't even mention the water Onix, huh? Is there a sponge there?
No. I don't know. I barely know what that is.
Really? And accompanying Mini Ash was his father. At least with this Ash, we know who his father is. I took his binder and, just like he said, he had some old cards. For example, this Pidgeotto that, to be honest with you, I think I've never seen before. And on the next page, he had a collection of Gardevoirs. Gardevoir collection?
Straight Gardevoir.
Is this collection personal?
Yeah, because I only bought it because of my friend.
Really?
But you end up liking it.
So that makes them even better. And it wasn't just the Gardevoir collection that he had. He also had a Gengar collection, and check out this Gengar, how cool is that? And he also had a Charizard collection. I've never seen so many Charizards in front of me, huh? It's the first time I have them here, as I have few. See if you can lend me a few, because sometimes I grab some here, and with his dad's help, Mini Ash started picking out cards from my binder he was interested in. Since I have few rare cards, I usually let people look through my binder first to see if there's anything they want, and then, only after that, do I pick out a rare card I need. And after calculating the value of my cards that he picked, I looked through his binder and chose a Mew card from the 151 collection. I just couldn't resist. What's your name? Thanks for trading. So far, the cards we've picked up are the Mew EX from the 151 collection, 2 sparkling cards, Pikachu and Milotic, both very expensive Psyduck, also from the 151 collection, and several old cards. Then this kid came over wanting to trade, and I asked him if he had any sparkling cards, and he said no, that he only had common cards, so he left. But then I called him back, because even if he doesn't have sparkling cards, maybe I can trade some common cards with him that I like. And looking through his binder, I found some cool Pokemon cards that I liked. So I just started picking out and putting all the cards I liked on the table. And he did the same thing, picking out the cards he wanted. And from my cards, these were the ones he picked. Some Pokeball cards from Prismatic Evolutions, and the common cards I took from him were Ipom and Primeape, which are my favorite Pokemon. Then he asked me to sign a little card, and I didn't refuse and signed it. As soon as that subscriber left, this guy with a haircut sat down and I started looking through his binder. He had some cards I thought were really beautiful, like this Riolu, for example. On this page I got a little curious. Does this guy like Glaceon? He had quite a few cards of that evolution. But obviously what really caught my eye was that secret art of Prismatic Evolutions of Ceruledge, and also the Sparks card he had. And of course I asked if he wanted to trade, but he didn't.
And once again, I somehow missed the chance to get Ceruledge.
Anything here interests you?
Dude, you actually need to have this fan right here at the moment.
Not the fan, I just got it.
You need it.
Yeah, I need it for training. He even took a good look at my binder, but since I had few rare cards and most of them I had already traded, there was nothing he was interested in.
There are a few here that want to trade.
He didn't want to trade, but let's check out this guy's binder. And looking at his binder, you can tell the guy really likes trainer cards with Pokemon. The Journey Friends collection, this guy must love it a lot since it has Pokemon together with trainers. Turning to the next page, I saw a card that I thought was really beautiful. Mew sleeping with several Pokemon around. Man, I thought this card was amazing! And it wasn't just one Mew card that this guy had. He had 3 whole pages just of alternate and regular Mew and Mewtwo cards, a true collector of Pokemon number 151 in the Kanto Pokedex, and also 150 because there's Mew. Not like anything.
Man, not here.
You're looking to trade.
No, it's fine already. What do you want there? There's almost nothing there.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, since thanks to some cards we had in our binder, we managed to get cards we needed. But for them, there was nothing interesting to trade. Then they told me to check out this guy's binder and said I was going to see some really rare stuff. Hey, they told me to check your binder because it has rare stuff.
That's right.
And they were really right. Right on the very first page, the guy just had several extremely rare Charizard cards and a kind of weird looking Mew card. A card with kind of an ancient stone vibe. I thought it was really cool. I looked up the value out of curiosity, and that card in NM condition is worth over 1200 reais. Have you been collecting long, huh? Have you been collecting for a long time? 2 years and the guy already has a pretty insane collection. But what really impressed me were these letters from Eve. Cards expensive. Huh? These cards expensive? Seen some. Altogether about 3,000 reais for 10 cards drawn in black and white. Man, that's crazy. And obviously a guy who has several Charizard cards, a strange Mew, a collection of black and white evolutions, would have all the secret cards of the Prism Evolution EVs. And now he started showing off the really awesome cards, starting with the Van Gogh style Pikachu art, which I looked up and it's going for 4,700 reais. But since she's already graduated, she must definitely be worth much more. I even found another card with art in that same Van Gogh vibe that's going for a truly whopping 5,700 reais. I'm honestly just absolutely speechless at these prices, man. And hold on, it's not over yet, because he also has this Umbreon, which is currently worth over 13,000 reais. Man, this card is just insane, and it's graded too, so it must be worth even more. Besides that, he has this Charizard that must also be worth over 1,000 reais, and this one too must be worth over 1,000 reais. There are a bunch of cards with high values, man. How much is this one? So you only take cash? So you only take cash? Haha, yeah. I think that honestly, out of all the people whose binders I've ever looked through, this particular guy absolutely definitely has by far the most rare and most incredibly valuable cards. Then this little guy who's a subscriber here on the channel asked me to sign his first edition card. That's true. Now, wow, that's a really cool card. Today we met a lot of awesome people and I was also able to make a lot of trades. Unlike the traumatic evolutions that traumatized me, today I left the store full of happiness because I managed to get a lot of cards I needed. And now that nowhere that I remembered, it was actually a long, exhausting 7-hour trip all the way back to Sao Paulo, because the very next day we had yet another important goal. I'm here organizing my bag because today we're going to the store and I'm gonna get 2 more new cards for our Impetuous Sparks collection. And these 2 cards are the Surfer and the something Counterattack, a golden card. It's a bit messy because this is the messy closet, but here are my binders, okay? Those binders over there are the ones I sell to people. Here we have a promo card binder for my promo cards. They used to be in different folders, but I organized them into one binder. I'll probably take this one with me today. This binder here, let's see, is the collection binder where I keep my collectible cards. Now taking this one, no cards to trade. Taking this folder, my trade binder. This is a Spark binder, I'm taking it. And this is the Journey Friends binder. Today's focus isn't Journey Friends, just essentials. Besides, I doubt my bag will fit so many binders inside. The first binder fit, I grabbed the second one and it fit too, and the little red binder went in easily. I reconsidered, went back to the closet and grabbed my collection binder. The idea is not to use it, but if we meet someone who has a card I really need, I'll use this binder as my trump card. While I wait for my Uber, I'll update you on which Impetuous Sparks cards I'm still missing. There are 2 of those packs that I'm missing, the Litificador, did I say that right? And the card. For supporter cards, I have the Surfer, Drayton, and Jasmine's Gaze. After that, I'll be missing the gold ones, which are the Golden Executor, Gravity Mountain, and the Night Stretcher. And finally, Pikachu and Latias, the 2 most expensive cards in the collection. So basically, I'm missing 11 cards. Well, today we're gonna get 2. Of the 11 cards we need, we'll have 9 left, assuming I manage to get the 2 we're already set to pick up. When I got to the store, there were already some people trading Pokemon cards and getting ready to play Pokemon TCG. Without wasting time, I asked one of the guys at the store to get them and off he went. Did it work? What the heck? 1 left, another return. Golden card in hand. Now just go to the binder end with golden cards and log counterattack of range. Now I just have to wait for Gabriel, who has the Surfer card. There's Gabriel, who has the Surfer card. You need to check if you have anything so you can go talk to the Surfer.
You know what? I'm looking.
Play game will you play? Try it.
The last one I got was Zoroark.
While he looked through my binder, I went to check the reason I came today. My man, the Bedra, I mean Surfer. We checked how much that card was worth. It was about 11 reais. I had to make a Pix transfer since I didn't have the card he needed, but the important thing is we got the card. Let's go back to the binder. This surfer stopped surfing through other people's binders and looks really cool in mine. See if there's any cards. If you paid close attention, the binder I handed to him was exactly the same one I considered not bringing today, but as I mentioned, we brought it to use as our ace up the sleeve. That's because Jonathan had the Jasmine's Gaze card, which is one of the cards we need, so I let him freely look through my binder, and the card he chose to trade for was Duskull. So he gave me the Jasmine's Gaze card and took the Duskull. Once again, my friend Jonathan came through. I took my binder and recorded Jasmine's Gaze. With Jonathan, I got 2 shiny Pokemon cards from him for my shiny Sobble card, which he likes. I couldn't say no after all his help, right? I traded 2 cards to Sarah for Ceruledge. Finally, I managed to get a Ceruledge! After all that struggle to get a Ceruledge, let's agree that I deserve your like, come on. A few hours went by and I was still at the store because I was also playing TCG, I admit. Or rather getting beaten while playing Pokemon TCG. The goal was to get the Surfer and the Golden card, but we ended up getting Jasmine's Gaze, a Ceruledge that's always welcome, and we're still going to get another Fagura's card that I found out was here at Caddy, the emergency button A-spec. Hold on, I'll show you in just a second.
Hey guys, how's it going? How are my buddies doing?
My buddy Derville came to bring the card. Just let me make the payment and done. This is the emergency button card. And here is the shuffle key successfully registered. Now there's one left. This A-spec, skipping 3 pages in the Spark Collection binder. There's still 3 cards missing. And on the next page, 4 more cards.
A little bit left to finish.
Let's go. Updates on the cards that are still missing. The Ice Spectre from the cart. The Dryton Trainer card, the Golden Executor, Golden Gravity Mountain, and Golden Mecha. Then of course the most expensive ones that are still missing, such as Latias, and also the Pikachu that is worth 1,000 and something. We're in the final stretch, with only 7 Raging Sparks cards left for us to complete this collection. By the way, I'm already going to get my bag ready here, putting my Pokemon card binders inside, because today I have a meeting, fortunately, not with my girlfriend, it's with a guy, but that's not a bad thing, because the person we're meeting has Raging Sparks cards that we need. As I mentioned before, this is my trade binder. It has some pretty valuable cards, especially this Golden Pikachu from Raging Sparks or from Prismatic Evolutions. If it were from Raging Sparks, it would be even better. And on the next page, there are some other Raging Sparks cards, Prismatic Evolutions, and even some Journey Friends cards. Unfortunately, this binder here isn't very strong for trades, mainly because the cards that are missing are Pikachu and Latias. And I believe that even if I wanted to trade all these cards here for a Raging Sparks Latias, it wouldn't be enough in value. That's why, besides this binder, I'm bringing my collection binder as well, to use as my trump card, because if the person doesn't want the cards in this binder, they can look at 2 cards from my collection binder cards I wouldn't really want to trade, but if it's to complete the Raging Sparks collection, I don't mind. I've packed the first binder, the second binder, and now for the Raging Sparks binder. And let's grab the third binder here. I'm going to meet up with the guys to trade cards. Honestly, I don't really know exactly what time I'll be back home, but I hope that when I do finally come back, I'll be missing fewer cards than I am right now as I'm leaving the house. In short, I really need to get a lot more cards before I come back home. Usually when I go to the academy, I take an Uber, but this time I decided to walk. And as soon as I arrived, as usual, I filmed the staircase. I don't know why, but every time I come here, I film the staircase. And when I finally arrived at the store, there was the truly awesome crew already waiting there and him full on gameplay. And when I got to the store, the guys were in the middle of negotiating some graded Charizard cards.
Bought just for my friend over there, old money.
Everything in a day he was there. The rich guy with the mansions and luxury cars. But then it was time for the negotiation. Furlan already knew exactly which cards I needed. The secret rare art Pikachu, the rare alternate art Latias, this Ice Spectre with the little car, and the rare art Dryton. The total for these 4 cards came to 1,724 reais. After that, I grabbed my bag and handed my binder to Furlan so he could take a look and pick out some cards he wanted.
Is this all you have for trading?
And theoretically not really, but when you're desperate, you do what you have to, right? So Furlan started picking out some of my cards, and I was hoping he'd take a lot so I could knock down part of the total price. And after he looked through both of my binders, he picked out the Lillian card, Zorua, Noctowl, the Gold Skateboard and Rescue cards, a Plinio card, and a Grass Orgapomp. And these 6 cards totaled 440 Ries. Which means that the cards I needed from Furlan came to 1,724 Ries, minus the 440 Ries for my cards that he took, leaving me with 1,284 Ries to pay. However, the problem is, I don't have that money, but Furlan was willing to talk and negotiate a way for me to pay what I owed. And after a long, tough conversation about what to do in this situation, he hired me to work on the construction site with him for 2 weeks. So guys, there won't be any videos for the next 2 weeks because I'll be working with Furlan on the construction site to pay off my debt.
What's missing?
We're missing
Mountain?
Golden, Mountain, Executor, and the Stretcher. That's right, I have the Stretcher too, don't I?
I gave the...
That's true. We're missing the Stretcher. Executor, Koba has it, and I'll get it from him. The Mountain, as you can see, is with Vitor, and the Stretcher on the other hand is with Furlan right now. And we managed to get some really important cards to complete our collection. I wonder if Furlan will give me a lunch break. Now it's time to open our binder and do the coolest part. Drayton recorded, Night Stretcher, on the next page Latias EX, and the most awesome of all, the Pikachu EX card, which we started our incredible journey to get about 5 months ago. And the funniest thing is that I honestly didn't even plan on completing the collection at all, and just look at where we are right now. Amazingly, we're only 2 cards away from finally finishing the entire set. And there it is. Pikachu registered in our binder. And now I'm only missing 2 cards from the set, the Golden Alolan Executor and the elusive Gravity Mountain. 99% of the collection is almost complete. Just these last 2 cards left, and then we'll finally have the complete Spark collection, which actually took me over 5 long months to finish. Now let's head back home, because I have one more thing to do. I'm back, guys. Man, I went there planning to get just a few cards and ended up leaving with the most expensive cards in the collection, Pikachu and Latias. By the way, I was taking a look at the binder here and we've got a problem. It's not a big problem, it's a small problem, but it's still a problem. Here's our binder with all of the usual common cards. But if you take a look at this particular part right here, check it out. It's actually a little further back in the binder. You'll notice that there's a card that's missing from its usual spot. I ended up marking that I had gotten it, but actually I didn't. The card I'm talking about is the Blender. I mentioned that we were missing the 2 gold ones, the Executor and the Mountain, but actually now we also have the Blender to get. But if we look at the rest here, most of it is completely finished. The Obsidian Flames collection, which took me months to complete. Yeah, like I mentioned, 3 cards are missing, but if you look closely, there are 3 spaces here actually. There are 4 spaces, right? 5, because there's also the section I mentioned to you that's missing here. That's because the cards missing from the binder that I haven't put in yet are the ones we got in Laundrina, the Golden Pikachu, and the Milotic card. I ended up feeling bad about taking the cards out of the top loader, but it's time to take them out and put them where they belong. In my Spark binder, here we have the Durant card, number 236, and Milotic goes on this side here, number 237. On the next page here, the Golden Pikachu goes in the spot, 247. Now, as for what's missing, there are 3 cards left. The Executor, which goes here, the Golden Mountain card, which also goes here, and on the previous page, the Ice Pack from the Blender. And to find this card, there's a group here from Kate on WhatsApp, which is for Pokemon cards, where people trade, so I'm going to ask if anyone has it to see if we can make a trade. So I sent a message asking if anyone had it, and it didn't take 5 minutes before someone replied saying they had it to trade. So another day in our Pokemon card hunt. I grabbed my bag and called an Uber to the nearest McDonald's because chasing these Pokemon cards is pretty tiring and also makes you hungry. And since I spent a lot of time chasing after Pokemon cards and also editing this video, I ended up not eating, but that problem is about to be solved right now with this super delicious meal I got here at McDonald's. And a few hours later, I arrived at another Pokemon card shop, and that's where I was going to meet him, Vitor, who has 2 of the cards we need, the Blender and the Golden Mountain. There was even a subscriber from the channel, and he's there at the shop. They went there to learn how to play Pokemon TCG. Really great people. By the way, I got the cards from Vitor that I came for, but unfortunately my camera didn't record it, but thanks a lot, Vitor, appreciate it. So let's put them into our binder. Blender registered, and now Gravity Mountain successfully registered. Now there's only 1 card left to complete the collection. So since I was at the shop, I took the opportunity to play some Pokemon TCG with the guys, but then I recorded a mistake I made during the game. When I made that mistake, I didn't notice it at the time. I only realized it later when I stopped and went back to analyze what I had done. In short, I used a card that I wasn't supposed to use because the guy had blocked me from using that card with Voodoo, which basically prevents me from using items, and I used that item even though I was blocked from doing so. But as soon as I realized I had done something I shouldn't have, since that would be cheating, I did actually... No, I don't know.
You played into what, can't you?
But
like, I mean, you know, honestly, you won that round.
what?
You won that round. Because I didn't do anything wrong, right? I know that's what Nino would do.
I'd rather just forfeit.
Was your hand that bad?
No, there was a way to finish, but I think that's really messed up. It's just that I got really upset, and then right after that we started playing the third round. Since I'm not used to playing TCG often, I end up making mistakes like that just from lack of practice. That happens with some frequency, but in this third round I paid a lot of attention and we didn't have any problems. And after finishing all the games, they started announcing the players who made it to the top 4.
Everyone, here are the leaders of
It's the first time I've made it into a top 4. I was really happy. It was really tough, I won't deny it. And for anyone curious about which deck I used, it was Sarah's, the most obvious possible one.
The next day, when I woke up, I grabbed my adventure bag and went to the station to catch a train that would take me to Susano, because there was the person who was gonna give me the last card I needed to complete the Raging Sparks collection. Today is the day we're going to complete the Raging Sparks collection. That is, if Koba didn't forget the Golden Executor card. And when I got there, I greeted some subscribers who were at the store. And there he is, Kobayashi. Those who've been subscribed to the channel for a long time might remember him from the Pokemon battle between Master Miyagi and Kobayashi. That battle was epic. 4 months ago, I got some cards I needed from Kobayashi. And now, 4 months later, Kobayashi is the only person who has the card I need to complete my Raging Sparks collection. As soon as he picked up the card and came over to hand it to me, I said, I finally at long last completed this collection. And out of nowhere, he suddenly backed out and said he'd only give me the card if I managed to win a game of Pokemon TCG. It was way too easy to be true, right? So of course I accepted and went to battle, and my opponent was Sergio, simply the guy who's completely undefeated, with 4 consecutive wins in the local store league around here. I'm screwed. We started the game by cutting each other's decks and drawing our initial 7 cards. I managed to put a Pokemon on the bench, but Sergio didn't. He shuffled his deck again, and when he started, it was with Ursaluna. His expression gave away his situation. Anyone who plays Pokemon knows the pain of starting with that Pokemon. Then I started the first round. To be honest with you, I don't really remember what I was doing because, well, the camera is far away. But my deck allows me to make a lot of moves right in the first turn, like putting several Pokemon on the bench, discarding cards with supporters and items, and a few other things I could use that turn. But in the end, even after making all those plays and moves, Sergio managed to power up his Pokemon and knock me out easily, taking all the prize cards, so I lost the first match. Then we went to the second round, and as usual, we shuffled the deck and cut. In the second round, Sergio went first. He then put some Pokemon on the bench and powered them up, and after that, he passed. On my turn, I did the best I could within my mental capacity and my limited experience as a player. I tried to play as quickly as possible because I ended up delaying my match with Sergio since I was swapping out some cards. So, to try to speed things up and not hold him back, I did my best to do everything as fast as I could. After doing everything I could within my ability, since I'm a beginner at Pokemon TCG battles, I ended my turn. My match with Sergio was quite long. As the game went on, Sergio told me he had prized all his old teachers, which is a really important Pokemon for powering up his basic Pokemon. For those who don't know, prize means those 6 cards that sit in the corner of the table. To get them, you have to knock out one of your opponent's Pokemon. In other words, the cards he needed were right there. And when I say I'm absent-minded, this is exactly what I mean. Sergio used Kissin, which makes all players shuffle their hand, put it at the bottom of their deck, and then draw the same number of cards as their prize cards, which in our case is 6. So Sergio puts his cards at the bottom of his deck and draws new cards. And I did the same. I put my cards at the bottom of the deck and didn't draw any new cards. I just sat there watching Sergio play. Then, when it was my turn to play, I was lost, wondering where are my cards. I thought I had mixed them up with the deck that I had messed up, but then Sergio reminded me that I hadn't drawn the new cards. See? I'm just not cut out for competitive Pokemon. I would definitely be disqualified for this lack of attention I have. Luckily after that, I managed to play in a less clueless way and the game went really well for me and badly for Sergio because everything was conspiring against him. And it's not me saying that, it's his face that says it, okay? So he completely gave up on that second round and gave me the win. Then in the third round, since it was best of 3 because I won one and he won the other, I was totally wiped out. He defeated one of my Cyrils and the other 2 I had were in the prize cards. In the end I lost 2-1. But you know how it is, I lost the battle but I won the war. Because my only real goal was the card that Koba would have to give me since I won 1 round against Sergio. Okay, it wasn't a win by my own merit because I won due to my opponent's bad luck, but it still counts, right? The important thing is that we got the Golden Executor card and our Raging Sparks collection is complete. Thanks to Koba and everyone involved to help me complete this collection here. By the way, I had to leave this triple pack here for a subscriber who became a channel member and won the giveaway I did. Finally, the Raging Sparks collection. After 5 long months, countless intense battles and so many different wars chasing after Pikachu and so many other rare cards, finally the Raging Sparks collection is now at last successfully complete. It's not the master set, right? But it is the complete collection. My focus wasn't the master set, it was to complete all 191 cards. And we achieved that with mastery. Now the next collection for us to complete, Journey Friends.